Welcome everybody to another episode of our Fast 50 Insight series. Today we have Roel Kaars, CEO for Guardsquare, together with Riordan Cosson from Salesforce, here present today. To start off our conversation, Roel, can you please explain us a bit about Guardsquare? What are you doing in the market? What is Guardsquare all about?
We're a company working based out of Leuven. We are the global market leader in protecting mobile applications against hackers, reverse engineering. And to give you an idea, the biggest banks, credit card companies, technology apps, medical apps, these companies rely on us to protect their mobile apps against hacking and reverse engineering.
Okay, I think Guardsquare, I think where the story together with Deloitte started was somewhere in 2018. You won the Fast 50 award as the fastest growing company in Belgium. At that time, can you maybe today 150 people across the globe present? At that time, what was the situation a bit in 2018?
I think in 2018 we were with about 35 people. We were mainly focused on getting customers in. So we didn't have an accounting system internally. We still were relying on external accountants. We had a local CRM system and we had a very small office in San Francisco. End of 2018, so when we won the Fast 50 award, we raised 40 million from Battery Ventures, and that was the start of our real expansion globally. So that was also the moment that we had to do something. We knew that if we want to expand globally, we're thinking of M&A and other activities. You cannot do it with an external accountant, although he was and still is doing a great job. You need to have your in-house system also to report to your shareholders and the VC. So that was the moment, 2019, where we decided to create a new foundation in the company to be able to take care of the future growth. So that 2019, all at once, we expanded our offices. We opened our office in Boston, hired new leadership in the US, started to implement NetSuite, started to implement Salesforce. We did everything at the same time, and our colleagues who are still with us today refer to 2019 as the year where we were building a plane while we were flying it.
I still remember that vaguely, I think, as well, at that time. And if you then look back to 2019 and thinking about technology, about the platforms that were implemented, why did you decide and how did you decide on those platforms that were, you mentioned NetSuite, Salesforce, how did you go about that?
We went pretty fast. I had experience on the other side as a former ERP vendor. So what was the frustration of me was that people spend more time in selecting the tool instead of implementing the tool. So at Guardsquare, we decided to do it the other way around. As we were doing all these projects at the same time, it was important for us that we didn't want to be a guinea pig. We wanted to have a solution that was proven, that had already done it before, and that was available across the globe because we had expansion plans. We wanted to do more outside of Belgium. So we wanted to have software that could follow us and could follow our customers. So we made a short list based on a very few criteria. For example, if you look at an accounting system, every accounting system can take care of accounts payables, accounts receivables. You don't differentiate there. Our differentiating process was were our SaaS contracts. So the SaaS process, getting contracts, renewals, automatic invoicing, indexation, things like this, that was the key process. That was our main process, and still is, from an accounting point of view, our main process. And that's the process where we dove into detail, that we wanted to be sure that the software that we would select would be capable of handling it and automating it as much as possible.
Turning to you, Riordan, can you relate on that to what Roel was telling about selecting, looking at scale-ups, looking at startups that want to go international, that are on the verge of really delivering that value across the globe? And what are they looking for in a system? What are the main criteria, I would say, to...
Yeah, I think so. It's, I mean, what we see is that those startups, those scale-ups, they want to select a platform that can grow with them. So it needs to be scalable. Because today you are only managing in Belgium, but maybe tomorrow you need to manage in the US, right? Things can go fast. So you need a platform that can scale with you. So that's a very important one. Also interesting is what you mentioned, that we see a lot of companies who do it step by step, right? So you know where you want to go. There's the horizon, but go for the low-hanging fruit first. Make sure that the salespeople use it, and step by step enhance the systems to get to where you want to be. And maybe an interesting point that you raised is, I mean, if you want to scale and you want to move fast, right, you need to take decisions and you need to report to the VC and so on. An important element is that you have the right data to do so. I mean, what strategy are you using to make sure that you have the right data to take those decisions?
Let me start with the most used one-liner: garbage in is garbage out. So it's no system can help that. So you need to have a system, but even more important, you need to have the right processes, procedures, and also control and checks and balances in place.
Roel, you mentioned that when battery entered, I think the impact and the pressure on reporting, on getting the right data out, right KPIs out, you really took a jump at that moment, but probably it didn't end there. So can you picture a bit the evolution on what a venture capitalist, a private equity firm like Battery is requesting from you, and how it evolved during the years?
Yeah, well, it was a big difference. So we, up till then, we had our own Excel sheet explaining the most important things we wanted to know: number of new customers, how the revenue was growing. But already during the due diligence, Battery came with a nice spreadsheet with a lot of KPIs, but a lot of interesting KPIs. Like, ARR is still the main dominator, the annual recurring revenue. That's a very important one. But a lot of others, like the Rule of 40, meaning your growth percentage plus or minus your profit or loss. So, for example, if you have a 70% growth, 30% loss, then you're still at 40, which is good, perfect. You could have 20% growth, 20% profit, also good. That's how growth companies are measured. One of the KPIs that are being used. Also your magic number, how much do you spend on sales and marketing and how much do you get back? So a lot of new KPIs got introduced. And of course, we didn't have systems. So it was a big challenge for us to get all the data together, especially the recurring revenue. We had issues with that. But then with implementing all these systems today, everything is done automatically. So today we have our closing the 6th day of the month. So all reporting is done on recurring revenue, on sales is, by the way, already done on the 1st of the month. And finance is ready the 6th of the month with all KPIs, all relevant data, easily and good and well automated, with all the changes that we've had during the years. Because new KPIs come up if the economic climate changes, also the KPIs where people look at change. But we've always been able to follow that in a good way.
Okay. Interesting that you mentioned the current economic climate. I know, Riordan, from your end, do you see that there's impact as well on the decisions, and maybe as well what the scale-ups and startups are looking for in systems, in reporting, I don't know what, based on the current economic climate?
Yeah, well, actually we do. It's not necessarily that there are no decisions taken anymore, but it takes longer, right? And what we also see is that there's more focus on efficiency. So how can we make sure the business runs more efficient using the right tools? And yeah, actually that's something that we started seeing since January. So it's really something that's from the past few months.
And efficiency means productivity of people.
Yeah, it means productivity.
Reporting cycles maybe as well.
Yeah, it actually goes further. So it's how can I make sure that I maybe do more with less resources, and whether the resources are people, money, but also in terms of reporting, we need to get that data out faster when we report to the VC, for example, those kind of things.
Maybe one of the last questions, guys, looking at the future digitalization of scale-ups, what can systems bring? Maybe to you, Riordan, if you look a bit ahead to the next 2 years, what are the main things you think from as well a software provider perspective that startup scale-ups would look for?
Well, there's a lot more focus on automation, and again, it has to do with the efficiency, right? But ChatGPT, it's a hot item, right? And maybe For companies, it's still early days, but I think in 2 years' time, it will look completely different, right? So a lot of companies will use some sort of GPT or ChatGPT service in order to create that efficiency in the business and that automation. So how can we make sure that we make less errors, human errors,
Yep.
and get a better output?
So AI by your side, so you could say
Yes,
something
yeah,
like that.
absolutely. Yeah, that's I would bet my money on that today. Yeah.
Okay. Roel, looking at Guard Square, looking at, you said, well, we'll take the opportunity now to scale further. Do you see there as well an impact on systems or on processes?
Yes, I agree. It's AI is the big thing, and economic growth is about productivity. If you have a higher productivity, then you can keep creating economic growth. AI will create extra productivity, more productivity. It also still has some challenges that will have to be overcome. Everything will become more global, more digital, so security will have to follow too. So I think for Guard Square, we're in the right spot. We're in a spot where more and more is going on, but where also more and more challenges will pop up. AI can and will also be used to do bad things. So we have to be ready for that too. And that's why we have to invest, and that's why we want to invest to keep the position that we have today. But a lot of challenges ahead of us, but also a lot of opportunities ahead of us. So I prefer to look at the opportunity side.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. That was very insightful. Looking forward to the next episode already. See you. Goodbye.